All right, all right, all right. Today, we're going to discuss the possibility of integrity. We're going to play with the lights for a second before we do that. So, what is integrity? Integrity is honoring yourself as your word, doing what you say you're going to do, keeping your promises and agreements, showing up the way that you said you would. And what this gets you is more trust in you by the people around you, by God who gave you your word as a tool for divine creation. If we treat it as such, with the reverence, the sacredness, the precision in articulation and communication that we ought to, then we'll get greater benefits in all of the above, right? So how do we practice this? We give our word to the thing and we do whatever we say we're going to do. We do whatever it takes to make that thing happen. By when we said it would happen, for the people with whom we said it would happen. Now, the tricky part about this is sometimes we don't do what we say we're going to do. Life happens and then stuff gets in the way. Now, this is not to let ourselves off the hook from owning our power. There's a great story of two men walking up to a fence. It goes as far as you can see in both directions. It's too high for them to climb. And one of them has a hat, the other one does not. The second one takes the hat off the first one, throws it over the fence. And now the guy without a hat, he's like, well, why'd you do that? I liked that hat. And the second guy is like, well, now we have to find a way across. So your highest choice is to figure out a way to make your way through integrity, being honored, keeping your word over and above all. See, a lot of people, they equate breaking a promise with a good excuse as having integrity. No, it's not. It in fact leaves debris in your field. It leaves a broken down sense of who you are in the minds and listenings of those around you. And it literally prevents you from being the high performer that you could be, because you're letting yourself off the hook and not reaching as far as you could in the direction of what's available to you, right? So there's this process for restoration of integrity. Let's say you've done your best, and let's say you haven't, which honors your word by distinguishing where you're not going to keep it. Let's say you haven't done this piece, which I highly recommend in general as well, which is, hey, I'm not going to do what I said I'm going to do. Here's my new promise. I'm renegotiating. I'm shifting to a different time and a different way so that I can honor you, because your word is what makes you matter in other people's listening, in other people's nervous systems, in other people's world. And if you don't matter the way that you said you would matter, then now you're a ambiguous matter. Now you're a confusing matter. Now you are a untrustworthy or unreliable at its worst matter, especially if you keep saying you're going to show up on time and you keep showing up late. That's the quintessential example. That's the easiest place to practice. And it's the one that most often gets like bandied about and branded as if like, all right, that shows that you're a person of integrity. Now, integrity at its deepest level is coming from love, right? I say that I'm love, I say that I'm loving, I say that I'm compassionate, and I act that way. Now, all of this to set up the conversation for the restoration of integrity. Let's say you didn't get into communication, you didn't pre-manage your impact as you were gonna break or shift your word or pivot or renegotiate, or maybe you did it in your head, you just didn't communicate it. People are left with, how do I relate to this person? They've maybe lost trust, or you've lost power. Anywhere there's a loss of power, freedom, or self-expression or peace of mind, you can trust that there was a promise you made to yourself or to someone else that was broken, that was not addressed as a broken promise through a restoration of integrity. So again, why would we restore our integrity? Because integrity is about managing those wrinkles that arise in the flat or smooth space that we are energetically, and our field is, and iron those wrinkles out so that other people have no doubt that we will bring about what we say we are about. You know, I've had enough sleep and enough superfoods. When the poetry starts flowing from me, you might have to go back to get that. But generally speaking, I'll give you an example. I said that there was a commitment of mine for the month of July 2025 to have no TV, to watch no TV. And I kept breaking my word around not using YouTube, and I'm in the process of not using YouTube except for building in line with my dharma and my what I'm actually committed to, right? And I kept finding myself watching videos without intending to. So I got into communication with my committed listener, with my accountability buddy, and I said, hey, I just wanted to communicate. This is what I said I would do. This is what I've done instead. And the ideal would be to manage the impact, to notice the impact, to communicate about the impact of breaking your word, the impact on you. Like, all right, well, I'm having less ease and grace and trusting myself. I realize that maybe you don't trust me as much. And if there's anything for you to say, for me to allow your experience to have free play in the impact of my broken promise, then I'm inviting that. I'm open for that. I ask for that, right? So that's one aspect of the restoration of integrity. The full and complete restoration of integrity. Sometimes it could be as simple as, hey, I didn't do this thing and I'm recommitting. Here's what I'm going to do instead. But the better way of practicing and playing inside this realm, in relationship, in dating, in high performance, in creativity, in manifestation. You can see in manifestation how powerful integrity is when you look at Feel Free to Prosper in Lesson 1 in the back of Marilyn Janae's great book, which I highly recommend everyone their grandmother do because its subtitle is absolutely true. 2 weeks to unexpected income. If you just do what's said in there rigorously, reliably, consistently, in the way that she says you'll do it, I absolutely guarantee you'll get new income. And perhaps I should be an affiliate of Amazon and put a link in the comments below. But, you know, this is more important that I get this out because one of my clients broke their word, or at least didn't honor it in the way that I expected them to, and left me with a listening of, let himself off the hook or forgot to manage his integrity. How would I train him to restore his integrity? And how would I train him that integrity is important such that he'd be inspired by what's possible through the practice and the premise of restoring your integrity? Well, hence this video. Because notice when you say, hey, I'm committed to being loving and listening well to your wife or to your partner, and then you don't do that, there's a break in integrity. They lose trust in you. There was a woman I was dating recently, and I heard in her speaking and saw on her wall as she was tracking a real rigorous commitment to sleeping on time every night. Now, she didn't honor this for herself every single night, but she's reaching for it. And she had a growing resentment for me because I expressed, at least nominally, that I was willing to support her in that. And yet she often found herself up with me late at night, 10:30, 11:30, hanging out, having conversations, and enjoying those late night, going around, making out, whatever. And yet there was a sense in which I was not, and this is a special form of integrity. It's like masculine integrity. My job is to hold and manage and honor and monitor the shape and nature of the container and to do what I say so that it has an impact on her nervous system relaxing so that she can surrender even more into my masculine leadership and the direction and the tone that I set for who we are together, who we could be. So there are 3 levels of out of integrity impact. One is, there's at least 3. I took notes on this. Yourself, you stop trusting in yourself. And you're not able to trust as strongly or as deeply in yourself. And so you make new promises and you don't trust them. And they don't matter inside of or to you as much. It has that same impact for people outside of you, but they may they may cease to rely upon you as well as they did previously. And then your actual energetic field. So why does Marilyn Janae in her book say, stop speaking anything negative about your finances? Well, because the out of integrity will start to dissolve. And when you start saying things like, I accept that I'm going to receive and that I'm always receiving, that I am abundant and that it's easy for me to receive, then what happens is your field starts to organize energetically around that repeated focused context. I think it's Abraham Hicks, or Abraham, through Jerry and Esther Hicks, who used to say that a belief is a practiced thought. So a practiced thought plus a practiced word is a crystallization in your field of information that then provides for manifestation and is a point of attraction. Now, if you're giving your word every which way, and every other day you're breaking your word about who you are, what you say, there's several great books, Hung by the Tongue of Creative Force, and What You Say is What You Get. These feed into the notion that if you're conscious in your language, your world will be reshaped by it. If you make your words primary to and superseding to your world, then your world will reflect your words. Instead of thinking that you are the bitch of the perceived reality of what you need to say about all these things, like, oh, my bank account is this way. No, start speaking what you choose to receive and start living and viewing and relating to yourself and your world from what you choose to receive, and then you'll actually receive it. You'll activate the will of heaven. Faith is imagination focused on a desirable outcome. Fear is imagination running wild, focused on things that you don't want. So faith gets crystallized through speaking, through communication, first to yourself, then to your world. So there's this whole energetic field level of integrity that isn't usually distinguished or appreciated. And how we do anything is how we do everything. So if we break our word in any which way, anywhere, in any little thing, it fractures the field. It puts a crack in the foundation of the way in which we hold information in general. And yeah, it varies from field structure to field structure, right? You could have a growing sense of integrity in relation to your business, but still be out over here in your relationship, or vice versa. Or you could be building with wealth, but still be out about little promises like, I'm going to get back to you with my feedback and thoughts and insights and breakthroughs about the coaching you gave me, which was the specific promise that my client arguably broke and didn't repair the rupture around, because it leaves a rupture in your field over and above everybody else's, because you're haunted by this notion of, oh, I'm someone who lets myself off the hook when I say I'm going to do something. Or now there's, in engineering, there's the signal to noise ratio, right? Now the signal of my integrity is existing against a backdrop of the noise of where I've broken it. And even though I may think I'm a person of integrity and practice certain promises being kept rigorously, there's like this drag on my sail. There's like a heaviness or a chaos in the field. So to the degree that we can address all or whatever chaos we see in the field and repair and restore our integrity anywhere and everywhere that we see an opportunity for such, it provides us with greater power and freedom and self-expression and peace of mind and capacity, just energetically. If you can see this, and I'm nearing my last thoughts on this. If you look at the Matrix films, right, there's a really pristine example. Neo realizes that everything is empty and meaningless, and that he's made it all up, and there is no intrinsic meaning or restriction on him of the code of the Matrix. And so bullets get fired at him, and he simply says no, because he's in touch with the power of what his word means and how it can work and what it can do in its impact on the world. And when he says no, these bullets stop, and then he can take them out of the air and they just fall. Whereas a couple scenes before, the primary villain of the Matrix, the first one, Agent Smith, he sees bullets coming at him and he says no. But his word has a different relationship. He has a different relationship to his word, and his word has a different relationship to reality. He's not the one realizing that he is the cause and at cause of and the source of reality, constituting it through his word. He's also, playing this game of like subterfuge and spycraft and deception, and that's an interesting conversation. Could a spy be in integrity with a promise he made to keep a deceiving identity in front of people who he's trying to extract information from? Could that be an integrity? And that's a fun little thing, but that's not a high performance question. Except if I'm coaching someone from the CIA, which I haven't yet. I might someday, or the FBI or the NSA or whatever. But it is possible for you to give your word to practice a lie. It is possible, but I just don't recommend it because it would overcomplicate things. And the fact that intelligence agencies exist, I think, is a sign of decay or a dilution of power on the part of governments and in the international potential for coherence and loving connection between cultures. Like it's something that we put up with the same way we put up with a shitty smell coming from our garbage can because we haven't taken out the trash in a long time. right? So it's the sign of something deeper that has not been addressed, not a baseline from which to operate. And so Neo, he honors his word. And in his word being honored, reality reconstitutes itself around him because he has honored his word with so much rigor and strictness. Because he's just woken up. He's a little baby in the practice of integrity, arguably at that point in the Matrix films, because he's literally just realized the impact of his word on the code. And one imagines in that moment of waking up, of being reborn, like waking up to his power as the one in the Matrix, which is the invitation I'm making to you, he's entering into a clean space. He's reduced to a clean slate. And now when he says something or gives his word, it has power in a way that it didn't before, because most people are relating to themselves as a chaotic, incoherent, unstable cloud of half-hearted, hopeful promises that don't get cleaned up when they get broken, right? So it's only you, it's primarily you who gets then blocked and veiled and covered and distracted and dissipated and dissociated when you don't honor your word. So my invitation to you is notice the next time you give your word, honor it to the best of your ability, get into communication if you distinguish that you really and truly, not as an excuse, but as a like, hey, I'm limited as a human, can't honor that word or won't honor that word or haven't honored that word. And then clean it up, renegotiate, discern what the impact was, and make a new promise so that, in order to, create and establish a firmer foundation in a cleaner space and a clearer context energetically for you to create through. Right? So that is the importance on many levels at once of integrity and the power of restoring your integrity. And that's all I got to say about that. So thanks for listening. Have a beautiful day. It's been an honor serving you in this way. I recommit to honoring my word, and I recommit to cleaning up my word if and when and where I see that it's out, and restoring my integrity when and where it's appropriate. That's it.